Look at that. Holes all through them. They're rotten. They're split. One bundle. Let me tell you something, folks. I hope you don't have to go buy any cedar shingle siding or any of that, because I just came out of Lowe's, and I am floored at the price of cedar shingles that have holes, knots, they're split down the middle, they were cut, they left the rotten spots. $75 an effing bundle. 2 years ago, they were $5 a bundle, folks. $75 a bundle for seconds. There's something really, really wrong right now. Hey folks, welcome back. I just did a town run. One of the last videos I told you I needed more static course cedar shingles to get the taper for the shakes that I'm putting on my house, right? So I was just too damn tired yesterday to go get those, and it looks like my camera is angled a little bit odd, but that's all right. I guarantee the shakes are straight. So the last time I got those static core cedar shingles was 2 years ago, and I paid $5 and something a bundle. I think they were $5.98 a bundle or something like that. So I didn't go get them yesterday, but I got them today. But I didn't get them at the place where I got them last time, because I went to that store, Lowe's, and usually I'm pretty happy with them, but the last few years customer service has gone right straight down the toilet. That's just my opinion. And the only reason I don't like going to Home Depot, which is, I don't know, 2 miles away from this other store, is because that parking lot has been made over so many times that you go just a few feet and you have to stop and turn, stop and turn. It's like a friggin' maze trying to get into the main parking lot. So that's just an inconvenience for me and one of my aggravations. But anyway, I like a nice linear, just get me there. So I ended up going there and getting them for a inflationary price, okay? Inflation in taken into consideration for the last 2 years. But anyway, I went into this first store where I got them 2 years ago, went over to that back corner and saw the sign and saw where they had a bunch, and they looked pretty good, but they were definitely first. One that you would, instead of doing shakes, you would actually side the side of your house with regular, good-looking, first class or grade A cedar shakes. Those folks were priced at $73 a bundle. I weren't after those, but I was floored. I was literally shocked at that price. So I went right beside it where the seconds are, right? They were marked the same price as the first. So I went and got a floor person, I guess, a worker, and asked him if he could help me out for a minute. And he didn't have much of he just had a flat effect, folks. You can tell he didn't want to be there. He wasn't interested in what he was doing, and I got the impression that I was bothering him. But he came over and I said, this is what I'm at. I said, this is what I'm after. These over here are $73. They're the grade A ones, the ones that you actually side a house with. But this is what I'm after. Now I see them right here, but the price is the same as the good ones. He just kind of looked at me. I said, that price can't be right. He just looked at me. And he looked, finally, I just stared back at him because, like, one, I couldn't believe that he was that disinterested in a customer. And two, I couldn't believe that he didn't even initiate a problem-solving solution, like maybe the price tag is wrong. Maybe it was marked wrong. And if I said, listen, 2 years ago, I got these here for $5 a bundle. I said, they could not have gone up that much in 2 years. He just looked at me, folks. And I'm like, well, in my mind, I said, well, maybe I need to slow down. I don't know what's going on. So I slowed down my talking. And I said, look, I said, there's knots, there's split. I said, there's rotten spots in there. I said, there's holes where there used to be knots and the knots came out. I said, that's all well and good for a starter course. I said, but that price has got to be wrong. He said, well, prices have gone up. I said, that can't be the price. There's no way that can be the same price as those over there. I said, I might as well buy those over there, the grade A ones. And he's kind of nodded. I said, but I'm not doing that. I said, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to side my house with them. And I said, I can't believe the price has gone up. I said, there's got to be something wrong. And he just continued looking at me, so I left the store. I went to Home Depot, even though I don't like their parking lot. I went to Home Depot, and everyone was all smiles. They greeted me, asked me, what if they could help me or if I needed any assistance to let them know. They were very engaging, very outgoing, happy. So I went to where the cedar shingles are, and I didn't see any. So I asked one of the floor people, and they greeted me very friendly. And they said, well, they're in aisle 24, but that's closed off because they're working in there. I said, And he said, but just a minute. Just a minute. So he walked over to aisle 24 with me, which is like 2 aisles over. And the gentleman, one of the workers, saw me, and he said, asked me what I was looking for, and I told him. And he opened that gate right up and walked me right to them. And I told him the little story of what I had just encountered 2 or 3 miles up the road, right? And he said, is this what you're looking for? I said, well, that price is certainly better at $16 a bundle. And he said, how many do you want? And I said, well, I'm after at least 6 bundles. Let me start with 6. I said, I can always come back. I can always come back and get more, but I think 6 should get me pretty close. And he went and got a dolly type of thing, and he helped me put them on the dolly and asked me if I need any assistance with anything else. And I'm like, no, you've been more than helpful. Thank you very much. Thank you for being friendly. Thank you for doing your job. Thank you for being engaging, and thank you for helping me load these. Big difference in stores, folks. One store, a lot of the staff, you can tell, just didn't want to be there. They just didn't want to be there. And the other store, they're just happier and more engaging, right? And their prices were correct. So, so I'm still dressed in my town clothes, so I got to get into my yard work clothes. And I took the gasket off my stove door, scraped all that, old cement off and took a wire brush and then paper towel and got all the dust off. I cemented it, put the gasket on, and I've got to wait for an hour with the gasket on the stove with the door closed. And then I've got to leave the door open for, I don't know, it was a while, like a day or something like that. So that's done. The stove bricks have also gone up in price. So I think what I'm going to do, for my stove, it takes 30 some odd bricks, and at $10 a pop, I guess I could make do with the ones that are still in good shape and just replace the ones that are all cracked and crumbling, right? So another year, maybe I'll do the whole inside of my stove, but at 30 some odd bricks, I think it was 38 my stove takes, 38 bricks at $10 a pop. I guess I can spend my money wiser someplace else, right? So there's never a shortage of place to spend your money when you're a homeowner, right? So today, while I was out, I got 8 bags of grain. Contrary to what some people believe, I got another block of a 3.8 cubic foot block of peat moss. I was out in the rain, so that sucker is heavy. I rolled it out of the vehicle, folks, and I'll just roll it end over end and make it work. I'll find a place where I don't have to lift it, right? And because it can't get much wetter, folks, it really can't. So peat moss, when it's heavy, because it sucks the old water and holds it right there, that's why it's good for the garden. So you get a great big block that's pretty wet. That's not going to dry out anytime soon. So what I'll end up doing is I will fill my bathroom tote that I keep my sawdust and peat moss in the bathroom, and I will bring in a little at a time, allow it to dry, bring in some more, allow it to dry, stir it up a little bit, because you don't want to use it when it's that wet. Damp peat moss works really good, so just like the damp sawdust. So that's where I am. That's my aggravation for the day. I came home from shopping today. I was gone 4 hours. That's a long time for me to be out. And I come home with a pretty good sized headache and never wanted to leave my yard again. Right? So there's that, folks. That's what's happening here. And you all be good. Bye-bye.